if the Quran is a message to all mankind, then why was it revealed in Arabic? And why were the Arabs the first recipients of the message of Islam? The Quran says, لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not asked about what He does, and we are accountable to Him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose the Arabic language as His choice. That is the first reason. Now someone may go like, then why? The best wisdom behind the reason as to why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the last message in the Arabic language is known to Him. But as human beings, we can figure out some wisdoms and some reasons as to why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this last message in the Arabic language. First of all, Allah had to choose a language. If Allah chose a different language that was not Arabic, the same question would have been raised. If Allah chose English, the Arabs would have gone like, why English? And if Allah chose Russian, the French would have asked that, why Russian? And if Allah chose any other language that existed during the time when the Quran was revealed, people would raise the same question. That means Allah at the end of the day had to choose a language. The Bible was written in Aramaic, but I want to challenge any Christian watching this video if they can even make a sentence in Aramaic. Most of them do not have a clue about the language, and someone can argue that Aramaic is one of the extinct languages. We do not have a people that speak Aramaic in the modern day world, but the Arabic language still exists. Now, let's talk about the unique characteristics and attributes of the Arabic language. First of all, the Arabic language is the language having the richest vocabulary. It has the widest vocabulary. To give you an idea of that, you go look this up on the internet. The Arabic language has more than 12 million words. Imagine, 12 million words. Do you know the language that comes second? It is the English language. The English language has 600,000 words. Can you imagine? From 12 million to 600,000. That means the Arabic language is far, far richer than any other language in the world. The Arabic language has a wealth of figurative language, synonyms, and the rhyme of the language, the style of the language. It outdoes any other language on the face of the earth. Another thing about the Arabic language, the primary vowels of the Arabic language are three. That is fatha, that makes sound a, kasra, that makes sound e, and dhamma, that makes sounds u. If you look at the three primary vowels of Arabic, they are literally found in every language on the face of the earth. That makes it very easy to pronounce. I'm not trying to say that all the letters are easy to pronounce, but if it comes to vowels, we have three primary vowels that are common in literally every single language on the face of the earth. Another thing we should note here, the Arabic language that is spoken on the streets of Dubai or the streets of Cairo or the streets of Saudi Arabia is not necessarily the language of the Quran. They may have some similarity, but again, there is a difference. Let me tell you something. The Arabic of the Quran is what we call the classical Arabic. And right now in the modern world, we have what we call the modern standard Arabic and the colloquial Arabic. Now, the Quran was not written in the colloquial Arabic, it was written in the classical Arabic, which classical Arabic is also found in the modern standard Arabic. We should get that difference. That means even an Arab is supposed to learn the Arabic of the Quran in which it was revealed. And let me tell you something. Allah told us in the Quran itself that the Quran is a miracle to humankind. It's a linguistic miracle. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala challenged even the Arabs themselves. Allah said in the Quran, وَإِن كُنتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ مِّمَّا نَزَّلْنَا عَلَىٰ عَبْدِنَا فَأْتُوا بِصُورَةٍ مِّن مِّثْلِهِ وَادْعُوا شُهَدَاءَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. If you, the Arabs, if you are in doubt about what we revealed to our servant, فَأْتُوا بِصُورَةٍ مِّن مِّثْلِهِ. You come up with only one chapter that looks like the Quran, and then call all your witnesses if you're really truthful. That means, despite the eloquence and poetry of Arabs, the Quran, as a linguistic miracle, it challenged even the Arabs themselves. Now, let's talk about the reasons as to why Allah sent the Quran to Arabs as people and Arabia and Mecca as a region. Mecca has a very strategic location. Because the location is very strategic, it was very easy for the last message to mankind to spread around the world. And Mecca is in the center of the world. Another thing, Mecca was a trade hub. It would be very easy for Islam to spread through trade routes. That's why you saw that Islam spread so much in trade routes, the trade route to China, the trade route to Africa, and all other trade routes. That's how Islam spread it. Another wisdom, the Arabs were inferior compared to other civilizations around them in terms of political organization, military organization, and cultural heritage. Let me explain this. You couldn't compare Mecca with the cultural heritage of the Egyptians, and you couldn't compare Mecca with the political organization of the Romans or the Persians. You couldn't compare Mecca with the mighty armies of Romans. That means when these Bedouins came from Mecca and spreaded Islam in not more than 25 years, when Islam has spreaded in diverse parts of the world, this was a miracle. This shows the miraculous nature of the message of Islam. And that's why it's recorded that when the Arabs came to Persians, the Persians were asking them that, hey, what have you come to do? They knew them as the lowest of the low. They were so inferior in terms of military organization and political organization. Now, what is the wisdom behind this? If Islam was spreaded by, for example, the Roman Empire, history would have judged Islam that, the last prophet came from Rome because the Romans had a very mighty army. Then Islam took advantage of these mighty armies for it to spread. But Islam spread it from scratch from Bedouins of Mecca, who never had a mighty army. They never had a king, by the way. They were organized into tribes. This was a miracle of the spread of Islam. Another wisdom, these parts of the world, Mecca, never had a history of many philosophers. Just like you may see parts of the world like Greece that had philosophers like Aristotle, Socrates, and parts of the world like India that had philosophers, parts of the world like Persia that had philosophers. What is the wisdom behind this? The message that came from these parts of the world was not corrupted by philosophies. Just look at what happens to Islam when Islamic scholars went to learn philosophy. We got a lot of heretical schools of understanding in Islamic theology. Another reason as to why Islam came from Arabia, it was a supplication of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam prayed for that place and prayed to Allah that, oh Allah, send among them prophets. And this was the supplication of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, and guess what? It came into reality. And by the way, talking about Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, the last prophets in this region were Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam and Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam. These people in Mecca took a very long time without prophets. That means this was more like a virgin land for the message of Islam. Another wisdom, the Arabs never had a history of distorting and corrupting Allah's books. Can I give you examples? The Banu Israel, the Israelites, they distorted and corrupted the books of Allah like the Torah and the Injil, known as the Bible. But the Arabs never had a history of distorting and corrupting Allah's books. I'm going to talk about one last thing here. I want us to separate Arabs as an ethnic group and Islam as a religion. Most Arabs are Muslims, but most Muslims in the world are not Arabs. We do not blame Islam because of what Arabs are doing. Arabs are human beings. They make mistakes. And can I tell you who persecuted Muslims? It is Arabs themselves. And you know where they sought refuge? In the first 5 years of Islam, when Arabs persecuted Muslims, they sought refuge in the kingdom of Aksum in Abyssinia, which is modern-day Ethiopia and Eritrea. Can you imagine? Someone may go like, because the message is in Arabic, therefore people are disconnecting from the message. People do not understand the message. Let me tell you something. The Quran was kept in Arabic for its preservation. I'm going to give you one analogy. If someone goes to the supermarket and gets sweets that taste the same and gives you a sweet, and that person also takes a sweet, you all start eating the sweet. If someone asks you about the taste of the sweet, you're going to describe it very well. But just imagine someone going to the supermarket and buying a sweet for themselves and coming to you using the most compendious speech, using the most eloquent speech and the best language to describe to you the sweetness of the sweet. Maybe you can get an idea of what he's saying and have an idea of the sweetness of this sweet, but you will never get the feel of it. You may never get a full understanding of its sweetness. That's what happens if someone reads the translated version of a book. Don't get me wrong. In Islam, we are not against translation, and we have a lot of translations of the Quran for people to understand. But we keep the original text for someone who is willing to learn the Arabic language to get the feel of it. And let me tell you something, the Quran is different. It's totally different from the Bible. If someone is even reciting the Quran to a non-Muslim who doesn't understand a word in the Quran, if you really listen to it, you're going to get a feeling of it. You're going to get the taste of it. It's a miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's a healing to our souls and our hearts. The next video, inshallah, I'm going to make a video about the conquests of Islam and why Islam went to foreign lands and the difference between the spread of Islam and colonialism. Please like, subscribe, and share this video, and please put in the comment the topics you would love me to talk about, inshallah. May Allah give us the benefits of that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.